So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 4 red flags to watch out for your pressure washing customers. I'm going to explain the psychology behind it, so why these customers act this way, and then I'm going to compare them against your ideal customers. I'll also throw in some stories from my own experience with my cleaning company. It's roasting hot here in the UK. I'm sunburnt, but let's do it. The first red flag to watch out for is if they say, I've had cheaper quotes elsewhere. So the psychology behind this one is called commodity bias. When a customer doesn't know the difference between 2 suppliers, the brain automatically defaults to comparing them on price. To that customer, exterior cleaner A, exterior cleaner B, exterior cleaner C all look identical. They can't easily evaluate between your insurance, your experience, your equipment, your chemicals, your customer service. So the brain simplifies the decision for them. If they're all the same, I'll choose the cheapest. Humans naturally try to simplify decisions because it's easier than analysing quality. The next bit of psychology is called deal-seeking dopamine. Researching consumer psychology shows people actually enjoy the feeling of getting a bargain. Negotiating isn't always about money. Sometimes it's about them proving, I got a really good deal. That's why some wealthy customers will also try and negotiate on price. What this predicts: if price is the biggest concern for them now, it's probably going to be the biggest concern for them later on. They're more likely to question your pricing, watch every minute you work, and I'll come on to a story about that in a minute, compare you with competitors, and maybe ask for freebies. So this brings me on to a story from my own cleaning company. Last year, I went out and quoted a guy for his roof cleaning. I won't say his name, obviously. But I gave him the price there and then, and he said, I can't do that. Can you do it for this price? And I said, no, sorry. And he said, can you reconsider? And I'll go and tell all my neighbours about you and knock doors for you. And I said, no, mate, I can't do that. Anyway, left the job, left the premises, had a message from him a few days later saying, can you please consider this price? I said, no. He tried again a week later. And because things were going well at the time, I had a couple of days spare. I just went, yeah, go on. Then I caved in. And when I got to the job, I swear to God, he stood on the ground and watched the whole thing. So I started cleaning at like 9 in the morning, maybe. At 9 o'clock, he was behind me, looking up at the roof and checking what I'd done. And then it started raining, and then he went inside, went up to the top floor of the house and looked through the window at me from the other side, and he was checking if all the gutters were emptied, he'd checking if all the moss had gone. And at the time, I thought, like, this is crazy, like, this is a really difficult customer. But really, the signs were all there before. Had I known about this psychology and what to look out for, I would have spotted it a mile off, because for him, he was making sure that he'd got a good deal. He'd got the price that he wanted, but he was just validating it to himself. So that's my own experience, and there's been a few of them, but that's the one that sticks in my mind, so you definitely have to watch out for those early signs. Now let's compare that to a dream customer. The opposite customer doesn't ask, can you beat this quote? They ask, why should I choose you? And there is a big difference. They're buying trust, reliability, professionalism, peace of mind. Price still matters, but it isn't the deciding factor. Those customers quite often become repeat customers too, because they're buying into the relationship, not just today's clean. The second red flag to watch out for is if the customer says it shouldn't take too long, or it won't take too long. And the psychology behind this one is called the curse of knowledge. People massively underestimate work that they know nothing about. It's the reason some people say that should only take 10 minutes, when in reality it took hours. The customer only sees a dirty roof. They don't see setup, safety, chemical dwell times, protecting property, insurance. They're judging the visible 20%, not the invisible 80%. And another part of it is called outcome bias. Humans value outcomes, but professionals value processes. Customers see clean roof or a clean patio or driveway. We see preparation, experience, safety, professionalism. And it's ironic because the better we become at our job, the easier it looks to outsiders. But what does this red flag predict? Well, it shows that these customers often undervalue the skilled labour. They're more likely to say, oh, I could have done that, or, well, wow, that didn't take very long. Even though they're paying for years of experience and equipment and training, not just today's roof or patio or driveway clean. Now let's compare that to your dream customer. The dream customer would say, yeah, okay, it might not take too long, but I would rather pay someone who knows exactly what they're doing. They understand that they're paying for your expertise, not just the hours worked. A third red flag to watch out for is if they say, while you're here, can you just, then they ask for you to do something extra. The psychology behind this is called the foot in the door effect. Once someone has agreed to one thing, psychologically they're more likely to agree to another. Customers unconsciously think, oh, he's already here, so it feels like a favour instead of another purchase. Another thing to mention is marginal cost bias. This one's interesting because the customer already thinks he's already here. The van's already outside, the equipment's already set up. So this extra job shouldn't be too much trouble for him. The brain again ignores chemicals, time, and opportunity cost. But what does this red flag predict? If you always say yes, then those favours become bigger and bigger. If you pressure wash an extra bit of a wall, then that wall becomes a patio, a driveway, a fence. emptying the gutters. Before you know it, you've worked another hour or two completely for free. Another story for you that I can relate to of mine is when I did a roof clean last year. It was a big property. I was there for about 3 or 4 days, and on the second day, the customer, again I won't mention her name, but she texted me saying, when you're here today before you go, if I give you some cutters, would you mind just taking some climbing ivy off the wall so we can see the roof a bit clearer? And I didn't really question it at the time. I just went, yeah, sure, no worries. So when I got there, she handed me the cutters and I went up on the ladder and started cutting, but I didn't realise how much there was. There was loads of it. It was absolutely loads of it. Been there for years, obviously. And it took me, I don't know, an hour probably to cut it all down, and didn't charge her anymore. She didn't offer to pay anymore. I just did it because I didn't even think about it when we were getting on well. But it slowed down everything. I lost an hour or so of cleaning energy. It was knackering to do, and I shouldn't have done it, and I haven't done it since. Small jobs I would consider if it really helped the customer and they were really nice and they paid well and stuff. But that I should have seen that coming along long before, but I didn't. But that was a mistake that I can definitely relate to. Now compare that to your dream customer. They would say something like, while you're here, would you mind giving me a quote for this too? That's someone who understands extra work, extra value. And the final red flag to watch out for, in my opinion, is if they refuse to pay a deposit. The psychology behind this one is called loss aversion. Behavioural economics show that humans feel more strongly when they lose money compared to when they gain it. So a deposit could feel like I'm losing £100 today instead of I've secured my booking today. We can also look at something called commitment aversion. A deposit also removes flexibility. So before paying a deposit, a customer can still change their mind, cancel the job, or find someone cheaper. Some people just hate committing. So what does this red flag predict? Customers who won't commit financially are statistically more likely to delay decisions, reschedule, cancel, find someone cheaper. One last story from my own experience. When I first started cleaning roofs, I remember going to quote one of my first ever potential customers, gave him the quote, he was happy with the price, and I just said I need a 20% deposit to secure your job, to lock it in, and then because the job was in, I think, 5 or 6 weeks' time when the weather was looking a bit better. And he said, send it over via email, I'll get it sorted for you. Sent it over via email, heard nothing back. Gave it a few more days, sent him a nudge saying, just a reminder, your booking isn't secured until you pay the deposit. He ignored that, sent him a final one, he ignored it again, and then a week before the job he cancelled and said he doesn't want it done anymore. And for me, I should have known that if he didn't pay it probably in the first day or two, I'd probably give him 24 to 48 hours, then he was never going to pay it. And as a result, I held that date for him. And because I was new, I reminded him, but I didn't enforce it, I wasn't very strict with it. And I lost out on the job, and looking at the red flags now that I know that, he was always likely to cancel because he wasn't committed to it. So that's just a story from my own experience about paying deposits. So now let's compare that to a dream customer. A dream customer is willing to pay the deposit immediately. Why? Because mentally they've already made the decision, they already trust you, and they're 100% sure that they want the job done with you. They want to begin the process and secure the booking. So hopefully this video has given you a better understanding of red flags to watch out for. And I wanted to include the psychology behind it because, well, one, I find it really interesting, but two, it helps you understand it and dissect it a bit more and understand why these customers act this way. And when you're just starting out, it's really easy to ignore these red flags and make the mistakes like I did and lots of other people have. But hopefully me mentioning them in this video will save you a lot of headaches down the line. It'll save you money, it'll save you time. And it'll make the business more enjoyable to work in, because if you're working with good, ideal dream customers, then it's just a winner, isn't it? It's so much better than working with these customers that aren't ideal and they're going to cause you problems. So you'll probably go out and you probably will make the mistakes like everyone does, but that's okay. It's part of the learning process. But look at these red flags. There's plenty more as well. I might do a future video on some more of them. But just learn them and spot them a mile off. You save yourself a lot of bother down the line. If you've got any other red flags, let me know in the comments below, or any stories that you want to share about your experiences. And hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next one.